your boy, Eryk Anders versus our boy. I guess your boy more. I like Chris a little bit better, but shout out to Kyle Daukaus, man. Come on, man. Jujutero right here. This is a dude who, listen, like he's looking to get back into the win column. The dude is looking to have a little more success in his career. He isn't quite following the trajectory of his brother, but he is in a position to bounce back after that Roman Dolidze loss, man. And I think that this is the fight for him to be able to do it. Now, this is a fight, AJ, that's been keeping me up at night. And I know that sounds weird because if you look at Eryk Anders, a lot of people could simply say, when's the last time this dude has won? Because it's been a little bit, right? And I'll tell you, this was over a year ago, and it was against the dentist, Darren Stewart, who is no longer in the UFC. Since then, he has lost a armbar submission against Andre Muniz. You can't be mad at that. Andre Muniz submits everybody. And he lost a it was a close fight, man. A split decision against the Iron Turtle, Jun Young Park. Here's my question to you. This is what's been keeping me up at night. As an individual who has rolled with Eryk Anders, myself, right? Like, this dude's fucking big, bro. He's strong. He's strong as shit, right? And these dudes are fighting at 185 pounds, man. I'm not the biggest guy myself, but like, Eryk Anders do not walk around at 185 pounds. This is a big boy. Kyle Daukaus, on the other hand, he's long and lanky, right? Which has advantages and disadvantages. The question that I am having here is that, can Kyle Daukaus just put the backpack on Eryk Anders and we can call it a night? Can he do that? Given, I do think there's going to be a pretty substantial strength difference in this matchup. And if there's one thing that I can tell you from my own experience, from the world of jiu-jitsu to the fans, to the supporters of the show, to you yourself, AJ, strength matters, bro. I know everyone says it doesn't. Strength fucking matters, man. Like, if you're really technical and really strong, oh, you're a monster, right? If you're really technical and not very strong, you might have some trouble against some of these guys, some of the big boys, right? So you tell me, answer that question for me. Can Kyle Daukaus simply just put the backpack on him and call it a night, or is it going to be a little more difficult than that?
It is going to be a little more difficult than that, Derek, but there's a reason they call him the Darce Knight. Kyle Daukaus, he is very, very dangerous in the grappling, and he can get things done. Put the backpack on him. That would be interesting to see. I can see it happening. I can see it getting done. Kyle Daukaus, he's a force to be reckoned with, but you're right, Derek. Eryk Anders is absolutely thick. Homeboy is when you just see him fighting any of the big guys, when he actually walks in that day, you know he's 15, 20 pounds heavier than on weigh-in. So it's going to be a big, big problem for Daukaus to be fighting. But the thing is, Daukaus trains with this big bro. You know he's in there having the big bodies. I forget where they fight out of. But they're training, man. You know they're out there in Philly with some big boys. So I don't know. I do think the weight will be an issue, and I think the strength, yeah, right. There is a big strength differential here going against Daukaus. I will think come into play, but early, late, I think Kyle Daukaus can make the best of it and actually change things around into his favor. We'll see, though. I don't know. This is a very close fight. Man, this whole card, first off, is very, very close. So this is another very close fight for me, too.
Another question for you. If Jun Young Park, the Iron Turtle, a man who can grapple anybody and everybody in the division, a man who has success against everybody in grappling, could not do that to Eryk Anders, what gives us the thought that Kyle Daukaus can?
Man, it's a good question. We've seen Kyle Daukaus in those situations, but we haven't seen him do it against high level. Like, I wouldn't call Jamie Pickett the same level as, I would even say Eryk Anders is probably a little bit better, but it's the thing. We've seen the fundamentals of Kyle Daukaus present itself. Is what all strictly I'm going off of. Because is there little physical, literal proof? Not necessarily, but the fundamentals are there for Daukaus. Whereas I feel like Eryk Anders has had to come into this light, if you will. He's a little more natural given. He's a little bit more of a brawler, a little bit more of a crazy fighter in there. Where Daukaus is a little bit more fights like a scrawnier guy. Has to be technical. He hasn't always had to rely on that power, if you will.
I hear you, brother. I'm just going back on, listen, if the Iron Turtle can grapple up at Tafon, the Don, and Chukwi, and he couldn't get Eryk Anders off of those hips, listen, bro, Anders is in the gym. He's ready to go. And I like Eryk Anders. Give me the TKO victory over Kyle Daukaus. The reason why, we've seen it a couple of times now. Kyle Daukaus, to be effective, he got to close the gap. He has to get in range, and he has to be able to get his hands on you. Well, there's one thing that is an issue when you're trying to close the gap. You might get caught. And when he gets caught, there's not a lot of recovery here. And when you're going against one of the biggest middleweights, I'm talking about a dude who was literally just fighting at light heavyweight, I think it's an extra percentage challenge. So I'm going to let my pick out the bag, man. Give me the Eryk Anders plus 550 TKO. That is looking juicy as hell. Give me that all day long. And I want a second round TKO. So that's what I'm going to call it. How are you calling it, brother?
You do all, Derek. I also got to prelude this one, man. This is another fight where I've been going back and forth with for quite a while. And as much as I think Eryk Anders can win this fight, I'm rocking with the Daukaus boys, man. I'm going back to Philly, rocking, and I'm going with the submission plus 315 submission for Kyle Daukaus. I'm gonna do it round 2. What do you say the over under was?
2.5 rounds, brother.
I'm taking the under then.
That's right.
I'm taking the under, man. Early round 2.
That's right. Both of us with the under, minus 175 for the over, actually, and plus 145 for the under. Listen, I'm just going to say this, man. If I was going to pick for Kyle Daukaus, I would pick submission victory as well. So I'm with you right there. But I like Eryk, your boy, Anders. All right, man.